Panamania. Heads up in the PokerStars Championship Panama main event here at the Sortis Hotel Spa and Casino in Panama City. We are down to the last two players. We saw Denis Timofeyev eliminated just before the dinner break, and now it comes down to Kenny Smaron from the US against Harpreet Gill from Canada. Smaron with the chip lead over Gill, 61 big blinds versus 48 big blinds, playing at 50,000, 100,000 with a 10,000 ante. I'm James Hartigan alongside Matt Broughton.
Hello everybody, how are you? Good.
Distorting.
Yes, I sound quite atrocious. I shall talk in my small voice.
So we have played roughly 8 hours of poker. How much longer do you think this is going to go for, Matt? 217,000 for the runner-up, 293,000 for the winner, and still relatively deep, 60 versus roughly 50 bigs.
I mean, this is one of those really tricky ones to call because there is clearly a huge divide in the styles and experience of Ken Smaron and Harpreet Gill. Both obviously done incredibly well to get this far. But Gill, I think, is an unknown commodity, and that might work in his favor because Smaron perhaps won't really know how to play most optimally against him. But also it means that Harpreet might just pull something out of the bag that makes no sense and trips Kenneth up. So for once, I really can't say I have a favorite because it's the experience and all the chips versus the random element of Harpreet Gill.
Now, those of you who are regular viewers of PokerStars TV know how we do things on final table days. We are cards up. Now, normally, and understandably, we're on a delay because we're showing the players' whole cards, but normally we would be seeing the video the same time you're seeing it. So we'd be commentating live on a delayed feed. Things running a little bit differently here in Panama, and this is a one-off. This is not the new norm, but due to certain technical restrictions, we've had to delay everything. So you're hearing us 45 minutes after we're speaking. Now, that does make interacting with you guys a little bit difficult, but you can still tweet along, hashtag PokerStarsTV. If you're watching at twitch.tv/PokerStars, you can, of course, talk to each other in the live chat.
And the mods, don't forget, the mods are always there. They do a tremendous job. So, you know, keep yourselves company, shall we say.
Yes, they do. So we will get to see the whole cards of both players as we go heads up here in Panama. Starting the heads up battle at hand number 161, the American professional against the Canadian amateur. Should be an exciting battle. So let's get the next level, the 5100 level underway. Cards in the air, heads up in the Panama main event.
All right, let's try it again.
Yeah, good luck, bro. Good luck, good luck.
A lot of support for both players here in the casino.
Yeah, Joe said it in the last level. There's a really nice buzz, a good lot of atmosphere. I caught a whole bunch of guys all wandering in with plastic bags, one would assume full of booze. Could be wrong, drink responsibly, but probably just soft drinks and snacks. But yeah, hopefully the party atmosphere will continue.
So Kenny Smaron plays on Stars as Kenny05. He relocated from Philadelphia after Black Friday. Big results both live and online. Whereas Harpreet Gill is a recreational player. He's 40 years old from Vancouver in Canada. Did get 16th and 12th in 2 different World Poker Tour main events in Montreal.
Yeah, he kind of modestly calls himself recreational, but I think his results are the dreams of many recreational players, and here he is under the spotlights on the big table.
So this is the first hand of heads up. Gill on the button in the small blind, calls with King 9, and Kenny Smaron checks his option with King Deuce.
Let's have a King 9 Deuce flop.
How about a 5-4-3 flop?
No.
So we'll draw for Smaron, who checks to Gill.
I would love to know what Smaron went right. This is how I'm going to play against this guy. I am going to ... Is there one single overall plan, or is it make it up as you go along, or is it let's just see what the cards do?
Smaron now with a flush draw as well as a straight draw. Gill still has the best hand, King 9 high. And he's going to bet the turn.
See, these are the spots where what I'm interested in is, does Gill know he's got the best hand? Does he go, right, well, I think I've got the best hand now? Or is he just going, I think the only way to ever win is to bet? And when Smaron doesn't go away, does he hate it? Is it perfect? Is he getting paid off for his value? That's what I don't yet get a feel for Gill's actions.
Board bricks out for Smaron. Action goes check, check. King 9 is going to win this.
Took Gill a second to recognize that he actually had the best of it.
There was some talk on Twitter, Matt, during the dinner break from some members of the audience asking if there is likely to be any deal negotiations between the final two. I think it was Mitan who asked, do you think they've made a deal? And it was Ben who replied, they won't make a deal in my opinion. Smaron knows he has the edge heads up versus Gill. Not just the chip advantage, but also the skill advantage. That said, stacks are pretty equal and variance is a huge factor.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that we know Ken Smaron's like, you know, expert, sit and go expert, tons of experience. But that's the thing is somebody that plays a lot is probably used to playing against people with a similar skill level who have certain familiar traits, you know, follow certain patterns. And here's Harpreet Gill that we've already seen because we've been seeing his cards all day long, let alone what he's done over the last few days.
Yeah.
He is not playing a standard game. A lot of what he does is pretty much by the book, but some folds we were expecting turned into calls. He's been right and wrong in equal measure. That's why he's still here.
So King 8 of spades for Smaron raises. And Gill 3 bets out of the big blind with 7-5 off.
I mean, the good news is he's looking kind of fearless. I guess right now he's got nothing to prove.
Well, remember, both these guys have locked up more than $200,000. There is still a small matter of the trophy and the title, of course. An ace, ace, 4 flop. So Smaron's still ahead.
The thing is for Gill, I guess mostly the expectation is that he doesn't win this heads up. So if you go, right, everyone expects me to lose this. So if that's going to happen, it's going to happen with me being aggressive and trying to make something happen. Because otherwise you've got to sit back, wait for cards, get run over by the expert. So I hope he just kind of comes out here and puts his foot down.
Well, he doesn't follow up on his 3-bet. He does not continue this flop. Action has been checked to Smaron, who checks behind. Turn card is a deuce. Smaron still best. Now 77% favorite. And here comes the delayed C-bet from Gill. There's 1.2 million in the middle. And I think he's betting roughly half pot here, around 600K.
Sounded like it.
675K. Chip denominations as Smaron folds the best hand. The blues are 5K, the yellows are 25K, the whites are 100K, and Gill has now taken the chip lead. 5.6 million plays 5.1 million. Both players around 50 bigs. Third hand of heads-up play, hand 163 of this final table. I think Gill has to be careful not to get carried away. Well, here's a good spot. You see 9-3, a pretty ugly hand, decides just let it go.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is you've got to have a bit of selectivity to it. Not sure that's the real word. But in the same way you don't want to get run over, you also don't want to run yourself over. You don't want to just go so to town.
Yes.
That you end up going, you know, you don't want to look back on this and go, do you know what? I kind of did this to myself if things do go south. I mean, the other thing is if Gill can keep himself ahead of Smaron in chips, and that's going to be a big advantage if he starts playing big and heavy and hard.
A pair for Smaron, raising with the 10s. Made it 250,000. And Gill does not have a bad hand. Jack 10 suited.
No, I will happily take that heads up all day long.
Did he just 3-bet?
Man.
Re-raises to 800,000. I wonder if we might see a fourth bet.
The thing is, but surely this is exactly the game Smaron doesn't want to play against Gill, playing big pots pre-flop. Because we've said it's...
Equally, how strong is...
Well,
2 10s heads up? You're going to put in another bet here for sure.
there it is. You've heard it. Official oral confirmation. The 4-bet in. I mean, the thing is, I don't know, does Gill want to let this go, or is he of a mind to just take a flop and see how things develop? Little smile creeping on his face. 1.1 to call. Yep, he's going to call that.
Wow.
I mean, already now, whatever happens here, this is going to make a big old switcheroo anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a 4-bet pot. Gill playing out of position without the betting lead. And Smaron's going to love that.
Yep.
All low cards, all hearts, and he's got the 10 of hearts as insurance and as a blocker.
And with the re-raise, the 3-bet before the 4-bet, Gill just checks. As you say, Smaron's going to love this. Can't afford to play it cute.
I wonder if he ever expected that 4-bet to actually get called. I think he thought it would either get a fold or induce a shove.
1.4 million.
Betting 1.4 million, and I imagine we'll see a fold pretty quickly.
Well, I don't know about pretty quickly, but yeah, I mean, there's missing the flop, and then there's missing the flop, and that's missing the flop. And
Well,
yeah, I was just going to say, regardless that there wasn't much action post-flop, a huge dynamics change to the stacks.
Absolutely, it does change things significantly. We were talking about the players almost being level. Well, Smaron has now opened up a 2-to-1 chip advantage over Gill. 7.1 million playing 3.6 million. By the way, I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter already. If you haven't, or you weren't following the live updates, I can tell you there was a result in the high roller. Last time we checked in, Steve O'Dwyer and Sam Greenwood were discussing a deal. They did a deal, and the title has gone to Steve O'Dwyer. So just to be clear, if you look at our tour over the years, Steve O'Dwyer has won 2 10Ks, 2 50Ks, a 100K, and a main event.
I think he's going to do very well for himself, and I think he has certainly got a talent at the game of poker. Yeah, it's incredible.
Steve's score in financial terms today, $241,000. 9-4 against Ace Deuce, a King, King 8 flop. This hand unraised pre. Gill bets what is the best hand. Ace high gets a fold from Smaron. So they have played 5 hands of heads up, and those 5 hands have seen Kenny Smaron take the big chip lead over Gill. The hand that really changed everything was the 10s against Jack 10.
Very grateful to these players for the speed of play. Makes such a difference to get through a decent final table without real tanking, just chewing up the hours, chewing up the ability to play deep stacked. I think we really got our bang for buck, as it were, with these guys.
Ace 8 suited for Smaron, Ace 9 for Gill. Interesting, both slow playing. Smaron complete. Gill checks. The flop is 7-5-3. Action check to Smaron. He checks behind. Turn card is a deuce. Gill now an 84% favorite. Small chance of a chop because they both have the wheel draw. 100,000 called. The river card is the 8. Smaron hits one of his 3 outs.
Ouch.
Gill checks. And I think that Gill is in check call mode. I think this value bet's going to get called by ace high.
Yeah, we've seen him make a couple of hero calls, not necessarily always right, but it does seem to be one of his habits. Smaron will be more than aware of that.
350,000 into a pot of 420,000, so he's bet pretty big. Wow, Gill gets away from it.
Good fold, sir.
I'm not sure Ken is enjoying
No.
the antics of his rail.
No, I noticed a bit earlier on, some while back now, that there was one big hand that Kenny won, and some guy came up and wanted to kind of high-five him at the table, and Kenny just blanked him completely, kept piling up his chips. So I think he's trying to stay focused.
Yeah, staying in the zone.
Yeah. It's nice to have support, but I think also it's like, well, you guys are having a party. I'm really playing the game of my life here, trying to stay focused. Luckily, it doesn't look like it's actually getting anywhere to him.
Gill with ace-10.
Seen some worthwhile starting hands here. Heads up. Very attractive on the button. Anything for Smaron.
King-5.
Yep, entirely lovely heads up.
He defends.
Hello.
Yep, it's a king-high flop.
Fast check. Back to the aggressor, who does indeed continue.
Gill raises big and he bets big. He opens to 300,000 pre. He continues for 450,000. Smaron calls. So now we've got a 1.5 million pot. Still 2 betting streets to come. Queen on the turn doesn't change anything. Gill has picked up a gut shot.
Yeah, a little bit more reason that perhaps Smaron could get more action. He's actually decided to check, just throw out the rope. See if Gill wants to grab onto it again. As you say, he always seems to bet pretty big, so you know that if he does fire another bullet... No. Lets the opportunity go.
Checks behind, and Smaron improves to trip kings on the river.
Gill does love an ace-high hero call.
Yeah, but he got away from it the last time.
Yeah, but he might see Smaron as being pretty passive through this.
Well, I think Smaron has to lead here. He has to try and get some value. I think Gill's going to check back so much of the time.
For sure.
Is he going to make one of those polarizing monster bets?
Maybe so. Maybe that's the way he's decided to go here, rather than actually make a standard value bet, just to always plump it up a bit more than normal.
Gill, obviously, the effective stack here, 2.9 million. Smaron has bet over $1 million, and Gill gets away from it again. He's not heroing with ace-high anymore.
Well, that is good news for Gill, but he is actually on the slide. He's down to 27 big blinds up against Kenneth's now dominating 80 big blinds.
And this has all happened in the space of 7 hands.
Yeah.
8 million playing 2.8 million.
Well, I did suspect that Harpreet would certainly not shy away from playing big pots, because that might be his way to victory. But just in a short period of time, it's Seeing him dwindling down, not exactly danger zone stuff, but pretty uncomfortable compared to where they started.
No.
And maybe mentally as well, the resilience won't last quite so well as somebody like Kenneth Smaron can muster.
Kenny with ace-9 of spades. He raises it up. 250K. And Gill defends with 8-7 off.
Let's play some cards. Fingers crossed. Shuffle up and deal.
The flop is king 10-10. Ace high still good.
No, they look like a lot of fun.
Action's gone check, check. Turn card is a deuce.
Super.
Smaron now an 86% favorite. Gill checks a second time. Is Smaron going to value bet with ace high? Nope, he checks behind. The river is a 3. Gill decides not to bluff. Smaron is going to go for value, gets a fold, wins the pot.
I think also there's a lot of value in pounding on Gill, who might be feeling a bit under the pressure of it.
Sure.
You know, to check and win is one thing. To bet and get the fold and the win, you have that additional mental output.
So just to be clear, at the start of this heads-up battle, they were pretty even. After 8 hands, Smaron has opened up near enough a 4-1 advantage over Harpreet Gill. Still an hour and 11 minutes to play at this level. It's level 29 of the main event. Blinds are 50,000, 100,000 with a 10,000 ante. We would go to 61.20 if we were to get to the end of level 29. Gill has called. I've only seen one of his cards, an 8. A raise from Smaron and all in from Gill.
Wow, speedy. Man, what a hand to not see both cards.
Absolutely. We know Smaron has a jack. We know Gill has an 8. It went limp, raise, shove.
Is it the ace or is it the 8?
How strong is Smaron's jack?
Aha.
King jack, suited in clubs.
How much?
Well, he's either racing or he's 60-40.
It's good old-fashioned tournament decisions. Do you just try and finish it here, or do you live to fight another day with the big chip advantage that you're already enjoying? He's gone
calls.
for it.
Gill has 8-10.
Did not expect that.
Tilt shove alert.
Trying to make something happen, and he's walked into a monster.
So we thought Smaron would either be racing or have 40%. Actually, he's the favorite here. Gill does have live cards. It's worth pointing out he's not that far behind. But as things stand, Smaron is a 2-1 favorite to eliminate Harpreet Gill in this hand and win the Panama main event title. Wow, this is only the 9th hand of heads-up play.
With the way the chips were when we came into this, did not expect to get here so quickly. Keep it cool.
Could still go the distance if we see an 8 or a 10. Still 5 cards to come that will decide. Well, that's an interesting flop.
Never easy.
2 clubs out there, which could see Gill drawing dead on the turn if we see a 3rd club on the board. Right now his immediate outs are jacks and 8. A 10 would obviously give Smaron Broadway. The turn card is another 9. Smaron now a 4-1 favorite to win the PokerStars Championship Panama main event. Unless it's a jack or an 8 on the river, it's all over. The river card is a 5, and that is it. Harpreet Gill is the runner-up, and Kenny Smaron from the USA has won the 2nd ever PokerStars Championship trophy. Wow, 169 hands, and only 9 of them heads up.
Still a tremendous day's work, 217,000 for Harpreet there, who, let's be honest, at any point on the final table, you might not necessarily expect it to make it to the heads-up stage.
So here's how it finished. Anthony Diot from Canada came into play as the short stack, $65,000 for his efforts. Robin Wozniak, the German student who qualified online, he was the next man out. We lost the charismatic Belgian, Jonathan Abtalif, in 4th place. He secured his first ever 6-figure score in an MTT. Starter day chip leader Denis Timofeyev went out in 3rd. And then a very short heads-up battle, straight back from dinner. Harpreet Gill eliminated in 2nd. Kenny Smaron. Kenny 05 online is our champion. He is the winner of PokerStars Championship Panama.
Hello and welcome to the winner's presentation for the 2017 PokerStars Championship Panama main event. Before we hand over the trophy, I would just like to introduce our presentation party. All the way on the right there, we have James White, who is the Senior Consultant Live Poker Operations for the Americas. Next to him, Edgar Stuckley, Director of Live Events. First and foremost, let's get a big round of applause right over here for our 2nd place finisher, Harpreet Gill. Now there's only one thing left to do. Give that man his trophy. Kenny Smaron, everybody.